good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are, wherever you be. Um, Remember when this particular type of podcast was supposed to be weekly? Oh my gosh. The hubris of me saying something so stupid as that. Anyways, welcome to Games Analysis and Producer Perspectives with me, your host, Ray Hazlip. Today, I am talking about the video game industry in the AAA, AA, and indie space. I don't think there's a single A. Going to be honest, I don't know if anyone has ever thought hey, AAA is a marketing term. Let's just get that out of the way. Let's start at the very top. What is a AAA game? What is a AAA video game industry? It's a term that companies use when they have a very large marketing budget. And by large, I mean multi-millions of dollars. And they say, we're not just regular B tier or C tier or even A tier. We are beyond AA. We are AAA tier. And I don't know how that term came about. That's been a term that's been around since before I got out of college, having a degree in game design. It's antiquated, though. I will say that much. I will say that most people hear the term AAA gaming, and that means a lot if you want to work for a AAA game company. I don't know if it means as much to players anymore, and that's what I want to talk about today. The quote-unquote AAA gaming space is in kind of a weird location as of late. It is because, capitalistic greed has permeated the space, and of course it's permeated the space. Most of the Western world is in the capitalist system. But when it comes to publicly traded AAA game companies and publishers, all they want is to have more and more and more money. And they're starting to lose, or they've been losing for a long time, a lot of the creativity that comes with the rush to fill pockets with dollars. Now, this you probably hear this and you're like, oh, is this communism talk? Well, no, it is socialism talk, I will say that. But it's more along the lines of you can have both. You can have large companies that make a lot of money, and you can have a lot of creative ideas that flow from those companies, but there's not as much drive as there used to be to have those creative ideas, barring a couple of ideas here and there. Let's talk about this. When it comes to students, now I've made it no small point. I am a instructor at a large, or medium-sized rather, university, and I do teach people how to make video games and to become video game producers. That is my job, because I was a very accomplished video game producer myself. And I love teaching it. I absolutely do. But a lot of students do come to me from time to time and ask, hey, is it possible I'll ever even get a job in the video game industry? Because for the last 2 years, all we hear is about layoffs in the video game industry. And I tell them, same thing I'll say here. Yeah, it's scary out there. Let's be honest. No one wants to go to work with the sword of Damocles hanging over their head that I'll just get laid off at any given moment and I'll have nothing to, stop that. There are certain things that you should watch out for, though. And one, I will say, I've noticed, and you can look this up yourself, the larger the company, and the more, make of this what you will, the more American aligned the company is, the higher likelihood they are to lay you off for next to zero reason. This is me poking at Microsoft again. Of course I am. Microsoft has laid off the most amount of people out of all the other video game companies, but they also have the most amount of money. That company, from time to time, gets evaluated to be about $3 trillion every so often. And how many millions, possibly billions, but let's be realistic, probably millions of dollars are they saving by laying off? I think last I checked it was close to 20,000 people between 2023 to 2025. That's a lot of humans. That's a lot of people. I forget how many of those people were specifically in the video game division. I think that was close to 9 or 10,000 people, probably closer to 9,000 people in their games division alone, let alone other locations. And they don't have a reason to do that besides they want to make a lot of money. They're a company. They are publicly traded, and the CEO of the company, along with the executives, have a fiduciary responsibility to answer to their shareholders. That's the job that they have, like legally, that's the job they have to do by being a publicly traded company. So here's the thing you can do as someone that is wanting to get into the game industry. If you're listening to this and you're thinking, well, what do I do? You work for a smaller company that isn't publicly traded. Yeah, I know that sounds dumb, but that's actually the answer lately. Let me go over some games I've been playing or that have been on my mind. One of the largest games to come out in the past couple of months is Team Cherry's Hollow Knight for $20 on Steam or on Switch or on PS4, Xbox. And that game is made by only a handful of people, relatively speaking. That's an indie game. And I'm sure the millions upon millions upon millions of people bought that game. But that is not by any means or regard a AAA game. And if you were ever so lucky to work for Team Cherry, I'm sure they would love to talk with you. I'm sure you would love to go ahead and talk about how great of an experience that is. How about another game? We can talk about a game I played over the summer, Clair Obscur Expedition 33. That game is made by, I think the grand total, once you account for all the side help that they had, like 50, it's between 50 to 80 people, depending on how you read the story. Contractual work here and there. And that is by no means a AAA game. It's just not. Many people would consider it at least a or AA, if not indie game. It's made by a studio. This is their very first game, and Sandfall Interactive, to be very specific. And this game is one of the best games I've played all year. And it is $50, $50 or $60. There's no physical copy of it. There were some physical copies. I would love to buy the physical copy of this game and just have it in my home. But yeah, I have the digital copy on my PS5. Because they didn't expect this game to be so successful. And it's such a beautiful masterpiece of gaming. A game I'm playing lately, I actually paused the game to make this podcast, is Shinobi Art of Vengeance. This is made by Lizard Cube, also published by Sega. This game is great. It's fun. Again, it's like $20 or something like that. Oh, no wonder the music sounds great. It's by I just looked this up. The composer, T. Lopez. He also did the soundtrack for Sonic Mania, which is also an awesome game, but that's not a game. This, I would say, Lizard Cube is kind of an extremely small studio, but the publisher, Sega, that's not small. The point I'm trying to make is that is a small development team, relatively speaking. Another game that is just now coming out in its 1.0 release, Hades 2. Another small... Well, Supergiant Games is a relatively small studio, but no one would call them a AAA studio. Not a single person. There's a game that was advertised to me, which is made by, I think it's like one human being. One or two. Top Hat Studios. Motor Slice. It looks like a game that is a cross between Shadow of the Colossus and... the old Prince of Persia games. Not the old ones. I'm talking like 2000 era's Prince of Persia games. It looks phenomenal. I just downloaded the demo of it. I can't wait to play it. It's not out yet, but I'm looking forward to playing more of that because you play as this construction worker where the giant mega mining machines that are actual in real life across the world have gone rogue, and you have a chainsaw sword, and you're supposed to use that sword to scale these machines and to attack them and to cut off the source of their power to keep them from attacking. In the ruins of a large megastructure, the game starts talking about destroy every machine. It sounds great. That sounds cool. Yeah, I can't wait to go ahead and give that a shot after I'm done with the Shinobi game. The tiny studio you may have heard of before, Yacht Club Games, who made Shovel Knight and lots of different iterations of Shovel Knight. Once again, not a AAA studio at all. They are making a new game called Mina the Hollower. It looks like a take on the old Game Boy Legend of Zelda games, which I love. Those hold a special place in my heart. I stopped going to vacation Bible school when I was really young and believed in any sort of deity. I stopped going to Vacation Bible School just so I can play The Legend of Zelda DX on my Game Boy Color, because I thought that was way more important. Probably was. Now that I reflect on it. And it's got a soundtrack by Jake Kaufman, who's one of my favorite video game composers ever. I can't wait to play that. That comes out in Halloween. Again, another tiny studio. And there's one insane game that I saw. The publisher is by Fireshine Games, and the developer is Undercoders. But the name of the game is Densha Attack. I saw a trailer for this, and it looks like the craziest thing. It is Jet Set Radio, except as opposed to being someone on like futuristic roller skates, you're a Japanese train car, and you have to stay on tracks and do tricks and fight bad guys, and that sounds amazing, and I want to play something so insane and stupid like that. Please. That comes out supposedly in December. Or no, not December. I'm sorry, sometime in 2026. They don't have a release date for it yet, but it's absolutely added to my wish list. So when that does come out, I want to play that. These are games that are capturing people's attention. There are lots of like AAA games that are capturing people's attention as well. You know, everyone just been hamming and hawing about, we want to play Grand Theft Auto 6. Understandable. Grand Theft Auto 5 came out, oh my gosh, 12 years ago. So people want to play. And Grand Theft Auto 5 is one of the largest games in the world. So, yeah, that makes sense. So when I have a bunch of students that ask me, what is it I'm supposed to do? I tell them, work for a small studio. Work for a small studio of less than 200 people, or exactly 200 people. Work for a studio that you've probably never heard of before. Work on a game that's going to do something interesting. Will the studio fail? It might. It actually might fail. But you'll learn something new. You'll get something new out there. And there's no guarantee that if you work for a AAA studio, you won't get laid off either. There's just none. So go out there, work for the small studios. They might hit it big. Or at least they'll be more sustainable. Ask a studio, what's your sustainability plan? What's your marketing plan? What is your 5-year impact plan? Ask these questions during your interviews. These are valuable because most of the small studios actually have a plan. The other larger studios, they're like, well, we hope this very large game hits it big because we bet the pot on this. And it's some live action game that you know damn well no one's going to want to play. Which happens all the time. The larger studios are making gigantic bets, and a lot of them aren't paying off. There are people that still want to play video games. I am tired of hearing the same old, well, the video game industry is going through a crash. No, it's not. It's just not. There still are even AAA large games that are coming out that people are extremely interested in. How many copies of Donkey Kong Bonanza just sold recently? How many people are pre-ordering or about to buy Battlefield 6 when it comes out next month? How many people are that have a Switch 2 or even a Nintendo Switch are going to buy Metroid Prime 4? Spoiler for me, I actually pre-ordered Metroid Prime 4. I don't like pre-ordering games, but I'll make an exception for a Nintendo game that I'm not sure they're going to always ship a lot of copies of. Metroid is still not one of the favorite properties in Nintendo. Maybe it's slowly becoming that. It used to be a phrase like just 15 years ago or less, that unless you're working for a AAA studio, all the other small studios could get swallowed up and then spit out. That's still the case 15 years later, so you might as well work for a small studio that hopefully is going to either be a co-op or it's going to believe in unionization and get your job protected. And if it's not unionized, you can go ahead and start talking about unionization within the job. That'll be way more job security than working for a giant company like EA and hoping for the best. Not saying that you won't have job security at EA, you probably will, but if the books start getting a little dicey, they're not going to cut the salaries of everybody at the top, though they should. They'll start cutting people down at the bottom. Always. So, that's a very, very brief point I want to make about indie gaming, AAA gaming, and how the market is turning out for people that want to get a job there. If you liked what you heard, we have lots of different episodes in the entire unscripted gaming universe. Go to unscriptedgaming.com. That is our website. Or you can go ahead and follow us on SoundCloud. You can follow me. You can follow me also on Blue Sky. Just go to Blue Sky, go to Ray Hazlett. I update from time to time there. Or you can go ahead and listen to all the other podcasts or all the other episodes we have on game analysis and producer perspectives. Hope you're going to have a good one. I'm going to go try to fight the cold that I have in case you notice that my voice is a little bit different. Have a good day.